Hello, this is Stone Warden coming at you today with another video. And today we're going to talk about the long range pattern for the United States. We're going to talk about are there any big storms on the way? And then towards the end of the video, I'll just give you my overall thoughts as I usually do for the pattern as a whole. If you've been liking my weather content, please subscribe as I will be making daily weather videos even during the quiet time. So um, yeah, thank you for watching if you've been sticking around. So we're gonna start out today with the GFS model, 06C, and we're gonna start out by just giving you overall look. We're gonna run through this entire model run, and we're gonna see we're gonna watch this and see if there are any big storms on the way, and let's get started. So we're starting off today. And we know, and if you've been outside this morning, you know it's very, very nice with very low dew points. It feels very fall-like with a nice northeast breeze, about 20, 25 miles an hour. So very, very nice. And we should experience some very nice weather through the at least the midweek period. But then the GFS wants to bring in a pretty big area of rainfall for most of Saturday. It looks like a very wet day Saturday based off the GFS because the Euro model doesn't agree that we'll see as wet of a day as the GFS model is showing. But has been consistent in showing an area of low pressure forming down in the Gulf or down in the far southeast, and then moving up off the coast and bringing us a pretty widespread area of rainfall on Saturday. So we'll see how that pans out. But other than that, the models actually don't show much across the entire U.S. It looks very, very quiet. Tropics are quiet, and it just looks very, very quiet for the U.S. in general. There's no real big storms on the way. Um, there's just not really much to talk about in the weather world. Now we're gonna move over to the dew points because, as I told you before, we're in a very nice air mass this morning, all across the southeast right now. This will only continue to spread even further south as we go through the day, which should give us some very, very nice weather. So as we go through our Thursday, dew points will creep back up a bit, especially if you get an area of low pressure to form down here. And as that happens, you're going to get those dew points to creep back in, creep back up before we have another deeper trough that will move in early next week. As I was telling you yesterday in yesterday's video, you also have another deep trough come through, which will give us another big pool of cold, cooler air over the areas next week. And that looks to continue. Like I said, the first half of September looks very cool and very fall-like. So there's not really a lot to talk about as far as any active or big storms for the U.S. So this is a very quiet period. Especially during like towards the peak hurricane season. Usually around this time of the year, we're dealing with at least something in the tropics, or we're dealing with some big storm. But we're actually fairly quiet for this time period. So it's definitely very nice just to see this nice little break from an active earlier year with all the tornadoes and things that were happening earlier this year. It just seems like we've been in a very quiet pattern ever since we pretty much have left at least the first tornado season. So we're going through the Euro model, and it generally shows the exact same thing, albeit as we get to Saturday, notice it doesn't really have that low pressure forming and bringing us a whole bunch of rain Saturday. So that's the discrepancy between the models. GFS is much wetter Saturday, Euro is less wet. We'll see how things trend in the next few days. I'll keep you updated on that, and I'll let you know if we will see a washout Saturday, because based off the GFS, it's like a washout. So I'll watch out for that. And then we'll have another deeper trough move through next week, which doesn't look to have a lot of precipitation with it. It just doesn't. So overall, across the U.S., we look very, very quiet. We do. So looking at our dew points off the European model, and again, very, very nice fall-like air. Dew points will creep back up ahead of that deeper trough this week, but they'll crash right back down as you get into next week. Now, I wanna pinpoint some caveats to this trough because we had this happen a lot, especially last year, and it's just been a common theme. So sometimes when we get these deeper troughs to move in, and I'll draw this on the screen. Sometimes to get these deeper troughs to move in, um, you know, trough orientation really matters because if we get a trough oriented like that, kind of like a positively tilted trough, kind of like that, well, what tends to happen is these around these mountains, it's almost like it acts like a block to the much cooler fall like air. So if we get a trough orientation such as what the Euro shows, it is possible that we don't that areas just to our west will get the nice cooler air while we'll be stuck in the much more humid air mass. That is a possibility. That is a caveat. So if this trough orientation is oriented like what the Euro is showing, something like this, well then all that cooler, nice, cool air, fall like air, is gonna be just off to our west. So that is something to watch out for. I saw that being mentioned by some other people, and it has certainly been a much more of an increasing thing over the years because trough orientation just is weird sometimes. Sometimes the cool air will make it all the way to the coast. Sometimes the cool air cannot get past the mountains, and it just seems like it's been a growing theme over the years that we just haven't been able to get this cool air across the mountains, especially during the winter time when we're looking for snow and winter storms. We just cannot get that cool air past the mountains. So that'll be something to watch out for. We've been treated with such nice weather. I don't know how this is going to trend, but I would say that the Euros has been hinting at this for a couple model runs now, where it's showing that the cool air may just stick way just to our west over here around just around the Appalachian Mountains. So if that happens, guys, we might not be looking at the fall like air unless you're in the Western Carolina. So that'll be something to watch out for. But for now, my thinking is that this cold front will at least get close enough to the point where I think most of North Carolina should get in a much more fall like air. I don't know about South Carolina. You guys may not luck out as good as those to your north in North Carolina, but it all depends on this trough orientation. If you get a trough oriented like this, well then sometimes that cool air just likes to stick around the mountains in the Western Carolinas. While towards the Raleigh area, we may have dew points in the mid 60s. Back near, let's say Hickory, you may have dew points in the 50s and low 40s, giving you the fall like air mass. So it just all depends on the trough orientation. Cold front, and when I say trough orientation, all I mean is cold front orientation. That's all I mean. So there's that. So that is something to watch out for. Again, I'll keep you updated. I certainly will keep you updated on that. Now, here's our 500 heights, and I always show you this. And remember, red is ridging, blue is troughing. Troughing is just cold fronts, and ridging were all the warm areas. So, as you go through time, you're gonna notice that deep trough coming in. And again, like the Euro is showing, sometimes trough orientation matters. So there's sometimes this trough can get hung up along the Appalachian Mountains like this. And the most cooler air will be just right here in the Western Carolinas. Whereas if you're in Raleigh, you may be stuck in a humid air mass. If you're in South Carolina, you most definitely might be stuck in a humid air mass. So it all depends on how this cold front is oriented. For now, though, I'm going to stick to my guns and say that most of the Carolinas will be in a fall like air mass, especially early next week, late this weekend, early next week. But that deep trough moves through. That should give us some fall like weather next week. Doesn't really have any meaningful precipitation with it, but what I will say is that we have a second severe weather season, particularly across Dixie Valley down towards Alabama, Mississippi, and even up here in the Carolinas. We have a secondary severe weather season, tornado season. So what we're going to want to watch out for is any of the negatively tilted troughs that come out of Georgia, come out of the southwestern part of the country, that come up like this. Here, let me draw this. Any troughs that are oriented like that come out of the deep south like this, you're gonna want to watch out, because as that jet stream starts to shift back a little bit farther south, we get a secondary severe weather season. So as we get deeper into September, October, and particularly late October, November, you're gonna want to watch out for these deeper troughs, not like this one, but ones that form out of the southwest as a negatively tilted trough and come in. Those are the ones that you're going to want to watch out for a secondary severe weather tornado season. And so, if the tropics won't give us anything, I'm fairly certain that with the way tornado season has been this year, that will give us something. Not hoping for it, but we do have a secondary severe weather season across the southeast. And so, as these troughs become more common, especially late season troughs, you're going to want to watch out for a severe weather threat here in the southeast, from the Carolinas down to the Mississippi, Alabama, even Georgia area. You're going to want to watch out for some severe weather outbreaks, possibly as you go into the secondary severe weather season. I might make another video just talking about that, but we'll see. So let's keep going on the EPS ensembles. And again, they show the same scenario with the deep trough digging in, and again, trough orientation is really going to matter as far as how far east these dew points in these cooler fall-like air actually gets. If it gets hung up around the mountains, well then we're not going to be experiencing fall-like weather. However, if trough orientation favors us, well then yeah, we could be looking at much more beautiful weather late this weekend into early next week. So overall, I know that's a little strung out. I was kind of talking in circles, but overall, guys, not a lot of active weather going on. Tropics are pretty dead, and they look to stay dead at least through the medium term. I don't know if we'll have another named storm until the end of this month. I really don't. So, looking at 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, and we're still in the cooler air. We start to turn near normal towards the middle of the month. So, basically, the first 14, 15 days of September, we could be in the fall like air mass. So it'll be very nice. Now, granted, if we see that fall like air get stuck around the mountains, this could push back west a little bit, taking us out of it. But for now, the Climate Prediction Center is favoring this front getting far enough east that all areas of the eastern part of the United States will favor cooler air. So, looking at our precip map, and again, we're looking near normal precipitation, above normal precipitation, right along the coast from that earlier trough that moved through. But dry air looks to be some drier air across the central parts of the United States. Looks to be a big theme for most areas across the U.S. Looking at our 8 to 14 day precip, and still drier across the central western parts of the states with some above normal precip across the southeast. We'll have to watch this because some of this could come from any systems that want to form along any stall cold fronts, because I do want to mention that sometimes when we get these troughs that move through, you can kind of get low pressures to form along the leading edge of that cold front that can give us some tropical system. Typically, they form very close to the coast. They don't really get all that strong, but they can bring us some heavier rain. So this may be highlighted because of that possibility. But also, you want to watch out for just any troughs that bring heavier rainfall to the area. So that'd be something to watch. Other than that, though, that's all I got.